are quite the enigma, Professor. Such beauty and brains. It's almost suspicious.
Enigma? Suspicious? Stupid woman. I bite my tongue before anything sharp slips out while I follow her outside to her office. My lips twitch into the barest smile, but my insides are boiling. Beauty and brains are apparently a crime in her world. It's not my fault that I look like this.
Speak up, dear. I can't hear your excuses.
I have nothing to excuse myself for, least of all to her. But I keep my lips pressed together. We step into her office and my breath catches, not from awe, but from the assault of pink. Overwhelming, suffocating, pink. Lace curtains, ruffled pillows, and hideous porcelain cat figurines staring at me from every surface, and all is pink. So pink that my eyes burn. I stand frozen for a moment, letting my face remain a blank canvas as my mind screams, "Good God, does she sleep in here too? Or does she just like torturing people with this sugary nightmare she calls her office?"
Sit. Now, tell me about your heritage, your parents specifically.
I lift an eyebrow, just slightly. She thinks she's clever, poking around in my past like she's found a loose thread. But I've woven my lies so tightly over the years, she couldn't have found a single thing. My gaze slides to her toad-like face. There is nothing to tell, actually. My mother died when I was a baby, and my father was probably just a weak loser who didn't want a kid and disappeared. The words roll off my tongue like a well-rehearsed line from a play, because that's all it is, a script. I've told this story so often, I almost believe it myself.
How tragic. And your father's name? It must be in the records somewhere.
Her voice drips with fake sympathy, but I see right through her. She doesn't care if my mother died. She doesn't care if I was abandoned. She's fishing, and I'm not giving her a single bite. If she ever found out who my father really is, well, that would be the end of my position here. Maybe the end of me, even. A single trip to Azkaban, probably. Or worse. I watch the quill hover, poised above her clipboard like a dagger. She's practically vibrating with anticipation. I was a baby. I could hardly hold records, did I? I don't know anything about them. I guess they didn't hold any records then, either.
You guess? That's not very helpful, Professor.
Of course it isn't. That's the point. I cross my arms and lean back in the chair with deliberate ease, masking the tension that is thrumming through my veins. She taps her quill against the desk, and her eyes are narrowing at me. I'm watching for every shift in her expression. She's plotting. But so am I. I was a baby. I have no memories of it.
How convenient. And you never tried to find him? Not even when you got invited to Durmstrang?
The temperature in the room seems to drop at her words, though I suspect it's not the room at all. It's her. The way she leans in slightly, her cold smile, is like a knife sliding between my ribs. She's trying to get under my skin. I didn't want to find a man that didn't want me. So, no, I did not try to find him. Her quill scratches across her clipboard, a grating sound that sounds like it is etching its judgment into my soul.
Durmstrang. That explains your different approach to teaching. Tell me, what was it like there?
It is smaller than Hogwarts. Colder, too. That's all she's getting. No elaborate descriptions, no anecdotes for her to twist and use against me. I'm not giving her a single thread to unravel. My eyes stay locked on hers.
Yes, I've heard it's quite brutal. Darker methods of magic are taught there, aren't they?
Darker. The way she says it. Like the word itself is dripping with scandal. She wants me to flinch, to recoil or to make a mistake, or altogether. Not that dark. I keep it cool and neutral, as if we're discussing the weather. She's studying me closely. Her eyes are sharp and searching for cracks in my composure. It has been 17 years since I graduated. At my time, there was no dark magic taught to the students. 17 years. The number tastes bitter on my tongue. So much time. So many memories she will never see. And she doesn't deserve to.
And now, what do you think of the new curriculum?
She leans back in her chair with her legs crossed. Her posture is deceptively casual. I recognize the tactic. A predator at rest, pretending disinterest while waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It is not my place to judge that. But as for my opinion, I disagree with the teaching of darker magic. There, careful wording, no more than necessary, yet her face lights with satisfaction, like a predator who is scenting blood. She stands abruptly. Her squat frame is moving with surprising speed as she circles the desk. Her footsteps are soft but deliberate. Each one is a reminder of her power in this suffocating pink room. I resist the urge to shift in my chair.
So you're against the ministry's policies? That's quite the admission for someone who just started here.
I didn't say that I am against the ministry's policies. I said I disagree with the teaching of darker magic at Durmstrang. I see her eyes narrow and the faint glimmer of hate in their depths, twisting my words. It's her favourite game. Strange, pink, poisonous toad.
Careful, Professor. Your words could be interpreted as treasonous.
Why? Is it the ministry's policy to teach darker magic? Her expression tightens for a fraction of a second. Good. It's a small victory, but I'll take it. She's insane. Or maybe not insane, she's fishing for something, anything she can use. The thought coils in my mind like a snake. She's looking for leverage.
Of course not. But questioning established practices, well, let's just say it's best to keep your opinion to yourself.
I tilt my head slightly, and therefore masking my disgust with an expression of polite understanding. So that's what it's about. To see if I stand ground, if I will question authority in the ministry. She is probing me and my reactions. I see. My apologies then. There. I give her the surrender she wants, but only in words.
Apology accepted. For now. You may go.
I rise quickly, grateful to stand, though I mask it with calm efficiency. She gestures lazily toward the door, but her eyes never leave me. Sharp, suspicious, and unrelenting. I can feel her stare burning into my back, even as I step out of that sickeningly pink office. Her saccharine
Good night
is still ringing in my ears like a warning bell as I walk out. The door closes behind me with a soft click, and I draw in a slow breath, feeling my shoulders loosen ever so slightly. The air in the corridor is cooler, blessedly free of the cloying scent of her perfume and that suffocating pink nightmare of a room. My heels click softly against the flagstones as I make my way down the dim hallway where the torchlight is flickering against ancient stone. The castle feels different at night, quieter, but always alive. Tonight, however, there's a hum of whispers that catches my attention. 2 students huddle near the base of a staircase. Another pair is leaning against a window ledge. They glance in my direction and quickly avert their eyes. I catch a fleeting smirk, a stifled giggle, and the unmistakable gesture of a finger pointed my way. Lovely. I've barely left Umbridge's den of interrogation, and now I'm a spectacle again. Gossip spreads faster than fiend fire in this castle. I stop mid-stride and turn my head sharply toward them. My voice cuts through the hallway like a whip. It is inappropriate and rude to whisper and point behind someone's back. They freeze wide-eyed, as if I've caught them hexing each other red-handed. One boy's mouth opens and closes like a fish, while the girl beside him stammers an apology. Perhaps next time you'll remember your manners. I hold their gaze a moment longer before resuming my walk. The whispering stops and is now replaced by the sound of hurried footsteps retreating in the opposite direction. Good. Let them whisper when I'm gone, but not while I'm standing right here. I've had enough judgment for one night. The corridor stretches out before me, quiet once more. I keep walking. Each step is calm on the outside, even as my mind replays every word and every subtle threat from Umbridge.
From the shadows at the far end of the corridor, I observe in silence. It is almost laughable how easily the students scatter at your words. One sharp reprimand and they scurry off like frightened mice. Your walk is measured, not a step is out of place, yet I catch it. The tension in your shoulders and the slight stiffness in the tilt of your chin. You're holding yourself together by sheer force of will. I study your face as you pass beneath the torchlight. The faint glow is illuminating your features. I remain in the shadows with my arms folded. You don't see me, and I don't announce myself. It is better to observe first. Umbridge is sniffing around your past like a bloodhound. As your cloak swirls around the corner and disappears from view, and the echo of your footsteps fades away, I turn silently on my heel, gliding back into the darkness of the castle. I will watch, and I will be ready when Umbridge oversteps, because she always does.
By the time I reach my office door, I'm fighting the urge to slam it shut behind me. Instead, I open it carefully and stepping inside as if I am crossing into a sanctuary. The familiar scent of parchment, dried herbs, and old wood greets me like an old friend. I close the door with a soft click and lean back against it. My hand drifts up to my temple, massaging the tension there. The fire in the hearth flickers low and is casting long dancing shadows across the shelves of books and potion ingredients. I shrug off my cloak and letting it fall over the back of the comfortable chair before sinking into it myself, my body is finally relaxing against the familiar cushions. Bloody woman, circling like a vulture. For a moment, I just sit there, staring at the orange glow of the fire and listening to the faint crackle and the distant sigh of the castle settling into the night. The silence feels thick, heavy, but comforting after the suffocating sweetness of Umbridge's office. I pick up a quill absent-mindedly, turning it in my fingers, trying to keep my thoughts orderly. But her voice echoes in my head, together with her probing questions and her smug little smile. She won't stop pushing me, and a bitter laugh escapes me, soft but sharp, as if I'd hand her anything. I place the quill down carefully, and my composure is returning, piece by piece. The night is still young, but I've had enough games for one evening. For now, I sit in the quiet, with the firelight flickering against my face, preparing myself for whatever comes next. Because something is always coming. Sleep comes fast and relentless, and even though I slept well enough, I feel like I did not sleep at all when I wake up. The day is merely a blur of teaching, Umbridge's scrutiny during classes, and finally it is dinner time. The scent of roasted meats and fresh bread spills from the great hall, and are guiding me along with the tide of students and staff. Somehow, I feel awake, finally. The candles hover high above and cast a golden glow that shimmers across silver platters. I take my seat at the staff table. The din of the hall is comforting as I lean a little towards Severus, resting my elbow lightly against the edge of the table. He never invites proximity, but perhaps if I slip it in, disguised as conversation. You know, Severus, potion making is far more than stirring and measuring. It's about instinct, precision married to risk. My gaze lingers on him, waiting for the slightest twitch in his expression, the smallest crack in his composure. He always looks so certain, so immovable, as if nothing could pierce the armor he wears, even here, among colleagues. I've been reviewing some of the more volatile mixtures lately. Fascinating, really, how easily one could reduce a careless brewer to ash. I tell myself it's an olive branch wrapped in dark silk, a way to bridge the disdain, to show him I'm not as incompetent as he believes, but perhaps I'll only feed his irritation.
I set my goblet down. My lips are curving into a thin line. She dares to test me here, at the staff table, as if this were a private debate. Explosive potions have their place, though most lack the skill to keep them from detonating. I allow my eyes to narrow. I feel amused despite myself. Let her push. I want to see how far she can go.
I catch the subtle dare in his voice. I bite back the impulse to bristle. He is relentless. But if I let him chase me off with one sneer, then he'll be right. And I am not about to hand him that victory. I have been researching explosive brews. You sure must have your solutions for that. How did you prevent blowing this castle from the face of the earth? I tilt toward teasing, but underneath, I mean it. He must know, and he must have tried. The flicker of that smirk tells me enough. He won't answer, not directly. I sip slowly from my iced tea. The rim of my oil-stained glass is cool against my lips. His silence isn't avoidance. It's a challenge. I have solutions, of course, but I want to see what he knows. I take a bite of my garlic bread and glance around the hall. I don't actually see anything. I'm thinking, recalling the potion for my eyes, the reaction, the temperature. Silence lingers, and I study Severus's face. He is not giving me anything.
She dares to prod. The words are wrapped in levity, but I hear the edge beneath them. Explosive brews are dangerous territory for one so eager to toy with volatility. She believes she masks her hunger with humor. She does not. Her question is calculated, half tease, half test, and she expects me to yield, to hand her what cost me years to master, years of scars and failures hidden away in stone and silence. Knowledge is currency, and I do not squander mine. My smirk curls unbidden, briefly, but enough to let you know that I have walked the line you wonder about. Enough to confirm what you already suspect. I have tested the limits. I have balanced destruction on the edge of a scalpel and survived. Some lessons are learned only once, if one survives them, and only the right ingredient will stabilize explosive brews. I leave it there, cryptic, dismissive, and enough to unnerve. If she has the wit, she'll understand the warning that is folded inside the words. And if not, then the silence that follows will suffocate her far more effectively than any lecture. I watch how your glass touches your lips. Your eyes are on me, though you pretend to study the hall. I can see the radars flick in your mind, thinking. Perhaps you do not realize how transparent thought becomes when it grips a person so tightly.
I tilt my head, my lips are curling into a sly smile as the answer comes to me after a few minutes. The right ingredient: white squid ink.
The words strike like a curse. My head turns and my gaze is snapping to your face. Impossible. No one, no student, no colleague ever guessed it. It took me a week of burned cauldrons, shattered flasks, and scorched fingertips to reach that conclusion. And yet you say it as if it were obvious. I feel the flicker of surprise in my chest, though I school my features and hiding it beneath a sharp look. Correct.
A rush of satisfaction warms me. His surprise was fleeting, but I saw it. He didn't expect me to know. I sit a little taller, savoring the small victory and the way Minerva's lips twitch at the corner and Dumbledore's eyes sparkle with quiet amusement. Umbridge, of course, scowls from her end of the table, and her disdain is thicker than treacle. She probably doesn't understand one word of this conversation. But it remains volatile. I'm letting the weight of my knowledge linger between us. I want him to hear it. Not just the fact I know, but that I understand.
Your words hang in the air like smoke, curling around me and refusing to dissipate. Volatile indeed, both the potion and the woman beside me. I allow the corner of my mouth to twitch into another smirk, deliberate this time. Yes, that is right. My eyes linger longer than they should. Suspicion coils in me. How much do you truly know? But mingled with it is something sharper and less comfortable. Respect, and the faint, unwelcome pull of admiration.
The hum of the great hall fades as I lean toward him. The smells of roasted meats and spiced wine are little more than background noise. It's remarkable how many so-called experts think potion making is nothing more than recipes. Follow the steps, measure the powder, and they believe it will obey. Explosive mixtures prove otherwise.
At last, someone who speaks the language properly. My brow arches as I answer. Explosives are educational. Most would-be potion makers reduce themselves to cinders the moment they deviate.
Most, perhaps, but not us. I lean a little closer, savoring the fact that the conversation has shifted into my territory as much as his. Volatile potions are not for the weak-hearted.
I allow myself another smirk, measured but unmistakably genuine. Only if you understand what you're doing and know your ingredients. I hold your gaze. It has been too long since I spoke with someone who could keep pace with me, who understood that potion making is as much art as it is science. And for once, I find myself amused.
The rest of the hall recedes. The laughter, the clinking plates. even the enchanted ceiling above. It's just the two of us now, two minds that are circling around the same fire. White squid ink. But even then, the reaction simmers if the cauldron isn't cooled properly. 1 degree too high, and the vapors alone could take half a wall down. I stare at him and shift slightly in my chair.
She knows. My smirk lingers, but the flicker in my chest betrays something sharper. Curiosity. 1 degree. And if you think ink alone saves you, then perhaps you've never seen what happens when the base is stirred counterclockwise past the 4th rotation. My gaze cuts back to you, gauging. Will you falter?
I barely notice the strange looks from the others, who have lost the thread of the conversation and have no idea what it is about anymore as we get to more technical aspects. The challenge is clear. I tilt my head, pretending to consider, though the answer sparks immediately in my mind. The solution will curdle into a froth, caustic enough to burn through iron, but weakens if balanced with powdered obsidian. Though obsidian leaves the brew unstable for days, it breathes.
Damn, your precision is unnerving. Powdered obsidian. Few know it, fewer still dare use it. I hide the flicker of admiration behind a narrowed gaze. It breathes, yes. I have spent weeks containing that respiration. Perhaps you would have solved it in hours.
I smile into my glass. The satisfaction is warming me more than a crackling hearth. He is impressed, though he'll never say it plainly. Perhaps, but even you must admit, it's a temperamental brew. Handle it wrong and the fumes alone could melt skin from bone. And yet, the potential is exquisite.
Exquisite and temperamental. I rarely hear these words echoed with such conviction. My eyes linger on you longer than propriety allows. Yes, it is, and potential and destruction often share a cauldron.
The remark coils around me, dark and true, as intoxicating as the scent of crushed herbs on a flame. Then it seems we understand one another. But did you ever attempt to stabilize it with basilisk venom? Or was that too reckless, even for you?
Basilisk venom. Reckless doesn't begin to describe it. My pulse stirs despite myself. I should shut you down, deflect with a sneer, but instead I find myself leaning in. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch Minerva's confused but amused glance and Dumbledore's faint smile, like a man who is listening to music only he can hear. Umbridge is glaring daggers. Her lips are pursed so tight that they're nearly white. Let her choke on her disapproval. Only once. The cauldron didn't survive, nor did the stone floor beneath it. I wait for the reaction, though inside I feel the strange, unfamiliar tug of anticipation. Finally, someone who speaks this language without stumbling, someone who doesn't just understand, but thrives on the danger of it.
His admission about the basilisk venom makes my lips curve in delight. I can almost see the shattered cauldron, the scorched stone, and smell the acrid fumes that must have lingered for days. He said it as if that's restraint. I swirl the iced tea in my glass and letting the dark liquid catch the candlelight before I react. And what would you say to adding stardust?
Stardust. The sheer audacity of it. My brows lift before I can stop them. You cannot be serious. Even the most arrogant dabblers would balk at such recklessness. I bite back the instinct to snap, to call you a fool, because I see the gleam in your eyes. You know what you're saying, and daring me, testing whether I'll rise to meet you. My mouth curls into something between disbelief and reluctant amusement. I would say that even Merlin himself might hesitate before attempting such idiocy.
For a moment, I hold his gaze. His smirk is curling like smoke. And then the laughter bursts out of me. My shoulders are shaking as I press a hand over my mouth. Merlin, he is sharp. But he is funny when he wants to be. I catch Minerva glancing sharply down the table. Dumbledore's eyes are twinkling like stars themselves, and Umbridge is looking as though she has swallowed a lemon whole. But I don't care. I breathe out, still grinning, and turn back to him. Perhaps you're right, and perhaps I've finally found the line even you won't cross.
Her laughter rings out, warm and alive, so at odds with this cold hall, and for once I do not feel the sting of being its cause. No, I find myself watching oddly captivated. The way her eyes glitter, the curve of her smile, she is radiant in her triumph. Even I know when to walk away from a cauldron.
I tilt my head, regarding with quiet curiosity, and my smile is fading into something gentler. And yet, you stayed long enough to know the risks. For a heartbeat, I catch Dumbledore at the far end, and his lips are moving in that absent-minded way of his. A whisper, softly carried, and just enough for me to hear.
I have never heard Severus argue with such ferocity.
The words settle over me like an unseen cloak, and making my pulse stir. So it isn't just me. It's unusual, the way he's leaning into this, the way he's meeting me, step for step, strike for strike. I turn back to Severus, letting the thought linger, savouring it like a treat.
Dumbledore's mutter reaches me too, though I do not turn my head. I feel it, however, the weight of his observation, the truth in it. I rarely engage so openly, but with her, restraint feels wasted. Your words draw me back. Yes, I've stayed long enough to know the risks. I hold your gaze. You are no ordinary conversational partner. You're a storm contained in glass, volatile yet brilliant. I let the silence stretch just a moment longer than is proper, then incline my head slightly in a sign of respect. Hard-earned and not easily given. Knowledge is worth the scars.
I lift my glass in a half praise. It is indeed, sometimes. I smile and take a sip again before setting my glass down. I don't know why I keep trying to draw you out. It's like tapping at a wall of granite and hoping for a doorway to appear. And yet, I try, every time. But today I might have found a crack in that granite at last.